Hello friends, in today's demonstration we are going to simplify a street from photograph. The approach is to simplify the drawing and simplify the coloring process, not going for any precision or exact resemblance of the subject. Okay, without further delay, let us begin. This is the reference for today's tutorial, and I am taking this reference as an inspiration. I am only taking some of the major interesting elements from this, and most of the rest of the elements from the reference are discarded or altered. The reference credit goes to Painting References Facebook page. They have a lot many references, you can check them out. So let us begin the drawing and the painting process. I am using a cold pressed watercolor paper, 100% cotton, and I am using a fountain pen for drawing it. Okay, you can use any pencil or any waterproof pen, anything for that matter. And I am only copying some portion of the reference. See, you can see some kind of a sheet and some shadows and a board there, and a couple of vendors sitting below and few people. These are the kind of elements that I am copying from them, and rest of the things I'll be altering. Okay, these are very kind of simplified drawing. I am only picking some of the shapes that I think will be interesting. Okay, not too much of details. Okay, and yeah, little bit only some of the interesting elements that I am picking up, and I'm not worried about the rest of the things. The drawing part I have slightly fast forwarded it so that we can save some time, but I haven't skipped any portion of the drawing part. I have added a couple of figures inside these shops so that it may be little interesting. Okay. Yeah, you can slow down when you are. I mean, if you want to watch it in slower speed, you can probably you can reduce the playback speed, and then you can you can go through it. But for the painting part, it is in real time. Okay. Right. I think this much is the main drawing of it, and nothing too much. I mean, there is no much complex elements in this. Okay, and maybe few figures here, and as you have seen in the reference, there are few figures, and then we will see what we need to add. Okay, so we have added this much, few figures, and the kind of the sheet above, and some shadows, some vendors. And on the right portion of it, I am not very sure what we should do here. Maybe I will just add something at the right side here. Okay, we cannot keep it just blank, so I thought of maybe adding an auto rickshaw going that side. Just very loose drawing. Okay, and maybe a guy here walking, and some background. That is what I'm thinking of. Some background here. Yeah. Now let us go for the coloring process. I'm starting with a very pale wash of Naples yellows, and I might also mix some other colors to get some variation. I have mixed a little bit of yellow ochre to this now. The wash is pale. Okay, and the precise color is not very much important, so you can roughly judge the color mix from this. Okay, so I'm not spoon feeding about each of the color mixes. I'm just mentioning what colors I'm using and what consistency of the color I'm using, but which color to use for, I mean, in your case, if you're following it along, it is your choice. You can always play with the colors. Okay, here I am just adding some variation of yellows, some Naples yellows, and yellow ochre maybe, and I might darken it a little bit, adding little bit of burnt sienna, little bit of grey, little bit of orange. I add all these colors to make it little bit of there should be some sort of color variation, that's it. Okay. Because these walls are pretty old and the colors are not very bright and neat. Okay. And you can see that the inside wall of these shops, at this area it was kind of a bright greenish kind of a color in the reference. So I don't want to keep it as such, but I still wanted to keep that green kind of a color here. Okay, so it is not purely green. I have used for the brightest part I have used cobalt green. Then I have added little bit of the above yellow mixes, and so it is cobalt green and then little bit of yellow ochre, Naples yellow, burnt sienna, etc. And yeah, a little bit of color variation. That is what I am looking for. And I don't want precise coloring book style of coloring. So I am not precisely stopping at the drawing. And there is some kind of a sheet above. Okay. And I really do not know what color I will be using. Just now, for the time being, I am just leaving some lines there. But most likely I will change the color because I don't like the color as such. Okay. There is a kind of an awning here, which I am making it using cobalt green. So this is not there in the reference. So I just wanted to make that right edge a little interesting, so that I have made this. So it is, the reference is used for inspiration and grabbing some of the main interesting elements, but the rest of it is we have altered it. Okay. Here again some kind of variations in blue, and at the central area maybe I will make it more sort of grayish color. It is Payne's grey and maybe a little bit of blue, burnt sienna. These the colors that we have used so far, those things are mixed with Payne's grey to get some greenish, not greenish, greyish kind of a color, warm greyish color here. And as of now, the colors that we have used are Naples yellow, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, little touches of orange, Payne's grey, and cerulean blue, cobalt green. Yeah. And here I am not happy with the color, so I am using little bit of a burnt sienna, little bit of a thicker consistency of work. Not very thick, okay, but not very pale. Maybe kind of a milky consistency. Okay, the entire building is very old, so I don't want to make it very bright. I want to capture some of those, the feel of this being an old structure that I wanted to capture. So the colors are not very bright. I have added some earthy color to the colors that I am using, so that it looks little old and deterred. Okay, right. And the background is Payne's grey and little bit of blue and maybe a touch of orange. Okay. The brush that I am using as of now is medium-sized mop brush. Okay. And the brand that I am using is Camel mop brush, which is an Indian brand. And the watercolors that I am using is Camel Artist watercolors, except for the cobalt green, for which I have used aquatone watercolors. I will give all those details in the description below. But as I always say, the color that you are using, the paper that you are using, and the brush that you are using, it is your choice. Okay, it should be some decent quality, and I am not specifically mentioning any brand to be used. Splashing some water to get some texture, and the ground, the road is also not very neat and clean, so I am adding little bit of grey, Payne's grey and burnt sienna wash, and maybe I will add some blue color to the bottom, little bit of blue added to the bottom, so that it looks little kind of a muddy road also. Now at this point I ensure that the surrounding is dry, okay, so that we get some sharp edges. Here I am using a pale wash of red, which is I used scarlet red. You can use any red, and I am expecting that this will dry very light. When it dries, I am expecting that it will dry light, and I may have to reinstate the red colors. So, and some dark shadow area, we are building up shadows gradually using Payne's grey, mostly Payne's grey. And the building of shadows, I might do it in a couple of steps, because in one go I am not expecting that the shadows will be dark enough. I might do it in a couple of layers. So I am making the top shadow area little darker, and I will then kind of gradate it to lighter colors as we come down. Okay, and we can even smudge with finger if you want. I usually smudge with finger to bring down the tone, to smoothly bring down the tone. Okay, so this gives an overall kind of a form, and I'm sure that we will have to work on this again. Even though we are making a simplified representation, some kind of sense of form that we have to bring in, and to get the forms clear, we may have to have a good play with tones. We should have some range of tones. So we'll be adding more layers to get the right amount of tones, right values. These are the shadow color. I am using little blue color, cobalt blue, because the underlying wall color is cerulean blue. So I am using a little bit of a stronger blue to suggest shadows. Okay. Some more darker tones here. I'm not worried about the details underneath, but I'm a little bit worried about the overall shadows, the shape of the shadows. Okay, and these are some casual lines to suggest some decoration on the wall. If you want, you can be a little careful here. Okay, so and a little bit of the side of the wall, building is seen, and I'm adding some kind of a warm grey kind of a color there. So Payne's grey and little bit of yellow. Okay. For the darker tones, I am mainly adding various consistencies of Payne's grey. Okay, slightly thicker consistency if I want it more dark, and lighter consistency if I want it less dark. Reinstating the top shadow a little bit, because as I told, it was drying light. Please take this as just as an example. Okay, this is not a commissioned work. This is not a very accurate work. So we don't worry too much about being accurate. Go for suggestions, not for precisions. If you really want to make realistic artworks, of course you need to go for precision, and you have to draw them clearly. You have to draw them accurately, and you should paint them accurately. But here it is just a suggestion. I am just giving some colors here and there for the details, and not precisely worried about the colors, okay, because it is just impressions, okay, not too much of precision details. There are something with the vendors, some colorful things. So I am just suggesting some reds, some oranges, some yellows, etc. there. And see, this is under shadow. Those items are under the shadow, so we may not see bright colors there. I think we got some decent shape on the left side. So let us move to the right side, and the auto, it is some chromium cadmium yellow and little bit of orange, and then at the bottom area I'm using uh, this one, little bit of olive green and a touch of cobalt green, little kind of a darker green there. Okay, and it is just a boxy shape, that's it. And we need some darker things within the shop. So if you want, you can cross check with the reference. Just some touches here and there. Okay, if you draw them precisely and paint them, it will take maybe a couple of hours to finish this, and we don't have that much time for these daily practices. Okay, this is supposed to be a kind of daily practice exercise to loosen up ourselves. Okay, so where it is connecting the ground, I want it to be a little darker. Right, I think we can go for some of these figures. Some little bit of a blue color, cerulean blue, and here this again is little bit of cerulean blue and a touch of white to make it little brighter, little contrast. And this is scarlet red, and then we may add some leftover colors to have some color variation. Okay, maybe we need some darker color now. See, painting the figures and choosing the colors for the figures are little tricky. So I find it little challenging because I just pick up whatever color I think of for the figures and their apparels, their dresses. Okay, this I have used little bit of a mauve color, kind of a purple kind of a color for the figure that I am doing now. And these figures are just impressionistic. Okay, these are not very precise figures, and if you want precise figures, you have to draw them precisely in advance and then paint them precisely. Here everything is very suggestive, and I'm not respecting to the reference, the figures in the reference photograph. I'm just suggesting some figures here, that's it. Okay, you can suggest your own figure, your own actions, etc. for the figures. So I'm using a smaller brush now for this, and which again is a round, soft round brush. We can call that again as a mop brush, but a smaller one with a good point. So for the details, having good point is important, and for detail works, you should not have very soft brushes. Okay, it should be soft, but it should not be very soft like a squirrel hair. It should be little. There should be a little bit of a stiffness to get the details. So these are synthetic mop brushes, so it is not as soft as a natural hair soft brush. So I get a good amount of control with these mop brushes. I mean small mop brushes, as they have good point and little bit of a tension. Tension means stiffness. Okay, I think we are pretty much done with the overall shapes, and what I'm looking for now are probably the shadows with some darker Payne's grey color. Okay, this is fair enough. I know that there is no sufficient information inside these shops, but that is okay. We don't need too much details. Some splashing of opaque colors in between. These are a little bit of white, little bit of a lavender sort of color, a little bit of blue color, all this mixed. Please don't worry about the precise colors that I am using. See what I am doing and try to think what is the reason behind my approaches. So here I am using thick orange picked up directly from the tube, so to suggest some of these body skin tones of the figures, exposed body parts. Okay. Maybe something red inside the shop, something displayed. I'm not sure whether I should add orange to the figure. Yes, I think it is okay. Very very controlled way. I'm trying to add these skin tones, not with precise details as I taught, but we should be little careful when we do these opaque touches. Okay, it should be very limited, very controlled, and it should be done reasonably at the right spot. Okay, and the auto looks good to me, and yeah, the details also are good. So I am frequently changing the colors here and there. So I am editing out those color mixing stages and all, because it will take too long. Okay, I think the figure is readable, and we can add figures, the shadows to the figures. Okay, and shadow to the building as such, because there should be some shadow for the building also. I am not expecting long shadows because I'm assuming that the sunlight is not coming from at a very low angle, so it is reasonably smaller kind of a shadows. Okay. I think the shadows are looking okay, and a touch of white to highlight some of these figures. This again is done very judiciously, picking white directly from the tube. And if you are against using these opaque watercolors for the highlights, or if you are against using white in watercolors, you can stay away from this step. Okay, you can use your own approach. Right. I think we are pretty much done. I am not very happy with the contrast that I got, but it is okay. The board went very light now. I think I may have to reinstate this board, the red board. At this point, I think I have a feeling that the red color is not strong enough. We may have to add more red color. Okay. And now the white color writing is not very clear. Maybe I will make some other writing with darker colors. Okay. Right. Overall, I am happy with how it came out, and yeah, a touch of orange here, and that area was a little less engaged, so I thought I will add an electric pole here, and a little bit of details. Some portion of the electric pole is cropped now, because the the camera didn't capture it correctly. So, but I think it is reasonably good. The electric pole, and maybe some cables here and there, and what else? Some cable running across. Maybe a distant pole, little bit is seen. I'm using a liner brush here, so I'm not getting good control over that, but that is okay. I mean, we are just giving the suggestions, impressions, and it is not very precise. Okay. So I hope this is reasonably good enough and we are about to finish it. I hope you found this informative and you are finding some value in this tutorial, and if it is so, please subscribe to my channel and press the bell notification. Please share it to your artist groups, artist friends, so that they also can take benefit out of this. And if you have any questions, any comment, suggestion, please write them in the comment box below. Okay, so I think at this point we have sufficient depth. Also, after adding this shadow, I have added the shadow just to enhance the depth a little bit, and I will be making some corrections to the board, and then we can treat it as done. So once again, if you have any questions or comments or feedback, suggestions, please write them into the comment box below. So this is the final image. I will treat this as done, and I hope this was informative to you and you found some value in it. So thank you very much for watching this video, and if you have any questions or suggestions, comments, please write them into the comment box below. As mentioned earlier, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and press the bell notification, and you also please share this to your artist friends and groups so that it reaches more people. Thank you very much once again, and we'll soon see you with another interesting tutorial, and happy painting until then. Bye bye.